Welcome everyone. You guys are watching Esports and Information. My name is Harsh. We are going to react to the headlines for today. Um, but before that, let me just share this live stream on some of our uh, other platforms as well. Yep, yep, yep. hmm All right, here we are. We are back again. I don't really read newspapers these days. Earlier, I used to because uh, I still had some faith in the print media in our country, but not anymore. So I have completely given up on this hope of finding a newspaper or finding a newspaper article someday that is actually putting forward the civilizational perspective, and even like an indigenous perspective for that matter. All our newspapers will do is just repeat what the media houses in the West think. So that is their bread and butter. I wouldn't blame them because that is what pulls more views in our country. People here are more concerned about what the BBC thinks or what the Washington Times or the New York Times think. We are not really concerned about what will some of our local newspapers say, because even the local newspapers, they also repeat what uh, what the media houses in the West publish. All right, so that is what we are trying to do over here. We are trying to set the record straight for Bharat. All right. Okay, without any further delay, let's get into it. Let's see what do we have today to react. Mhm. All right. There was this post on the social media platform that is X. The Chechen Republic of Russia celebrated the completion of a brand new housing complex last Friday, built as a welcome gift for just over 200 Palestinian refugees. Okay, okay. So it has built up a housing complex that is Chechnya. Chechnya has a predominantly Muslim population. It is a republic of Russia, and they have built up a housing complex to welcome 200 Palestinian refugees. Interestingly, Russia is an Orthodox Christian country. So I'll let you be a judge. I'll leave it to your better judgment as to which countries are accepting refugees, which are not. There are, you know, sorry for that, but yeah, it is what it is. What has to be said has to be said. It is the people, the people in the Palestine, they have been welcomed inside the Chechen Republic. Keep in mind, very recently in the same republic, in some other area, there was a gunfight, and a church and a synagogue was attacked. Uh, Not that I am comparing these two pieces of information, but just I am putting it out there for you to compare and contrast. All right. Next up is a meeting of Quad senior officials held in the virtual mode. Officials from Bharat, Australia, Japan, and US. Okay, how many of you remember Quad? Okay, Quad was a. It's more like a military grouping. I would say military grouping having uh, countries countries that have a border and a connecting border with Pacific and the Asia Pacific region. So, Australia, Japan, US, and Bharat, these four countries have come together in a body called Quad. It is usually viewed as a counter towards the naval assertion of China. So, all of these four countries that have come together have some or the other problem with China, and more specifically related to their, naval adventures that China is undertaking in South China Sea. So these four countries, they've come together. If you even see individually, these like individually Australia, Japan, and even United States for that matter, they have some or the other lingering issues with China. Japan obviously has some border issues with China. They also have some political issues with China as well. Yeah, Japan has some political issues with China as well. Australia, due to COVID, their relations were strained. Australia was hell bent to convince the world community to take some action towards the CPC, the Communist Party of China, but we all know that did not fructify. That's what happens if you have a dispute, if you have a problem with either of one of the permanent five members of the United Nations Security Council, that dispute is going to go nowhere. Okay, there are not going to be any adjudications, there are not going to be any decisions. You'll just have to accept the way it is. And hence how these five countries, I would say Russia, China, and US, UK, and France, since after the conclusion of World War II, since how have they consolidated their positions as the permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. So if you have some or the other debate with them, if you have some or the other dispute or any problem or issue with them, do not expect do not expect any outcome in your favor. It's never going to happen. So that is how the world is functioning. I'm just saying it out loud. Okay, I'm not making this thing up. So yes, reviewed Quad's practical cooperation under various working groups and exchanged views on key regional and international issues of mutual interest. Obviously, this is a veiled reference to China. Obviously, their mutual interests lies in countering the Chinese influence in the Asia Pacific. So hence they have formulated a body called Quad, or at least that is what we know from the information that is available in the public domain. Next up is Manipur government. Manipur government decides to extend the holiday for all schools in the state by another 2 days due to the worsening flood situation, while the government offices will remain closed till tomorrow. All right, all right. Due to rains, the government of Manipur has given two more holidays to the students in the state of Manipur. I would suggest you stay home, read a book, have some good coffee, and yep, preferably, watch some videos on YouTube, preferably one of ours. All right, next up is the man in blue, the national cricketing team of Bharat. They have returned. They first landed in Delhi. From Delhi onwards, they came to Mumbai, the financial capital. There was some victory parade that was scheduled in an open top bus. If you are a cricket fan, if you are a sporting fan, you might have seen this phenomenon across various sports. Teams that have won, that have achieved a milestone, won a trophy, they come back to their country, they travel in an open top bus in the form of a parade, in the form of respect towards their fans. And the men in blue have returned. They have also they also some sort of fanfare was also conducted in the Wankhede Stadium. So they're back. All the kudos to the man in blue to stand up to the expectations of a billion strong nation. And let's hope they keep it up. There is an upcoming series, versus Zimbabwe. That although the team members are different in that team, Shubman Gill is supposed to be the captain in that team. So let's see how does the future pan out for the men in blue. Next up is the Hathras Stampede incident. All right, we all know it was very bad. There must have been some security measures in place, but like I said, stampedes can never be predicted. You can never know, where do the emotions flow of the masses. So, 6 members of the organizing committee have been arrested. A reward of rupees 1 lakh has been announced for the main accused, Madhukar. Okay, so the main accused has been absconding, has been avoiding meeting the authorities, has been avoiding arrest. Okay, says the IG Shalab Mathur. Okay, he is the inspector general of that specific area, and so the police have announced rupees 1 lakh. So rupees 1 lakh has been announced as a reward for the person who gives some information regarding the main accused. All right, there is a very ambitious claim by one of the ministers of the Union Cabinet. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said that world will witness the first Bharat national in space and other Indian and another national in deep sea by 2025. Okay. So there will be, there will be a national, there will be nationals from Bharat who will be seen in space and even in deep sea explorations by the year of 2025. That is by next year. Deep sea exploration, I wouldn't say is very ambitious because based on the modern technologies available, this could have been done earlier as well. But now, obviously, we are focusing more on indigenizing the technologies, not being dependent on other nations because COVID, and I'm not just speaking for our nation. COVID has exposed certain vulnerabilities that developing countries have in in these times, because during covid when there was total lockdown, and many of the countries were reeling under the effects of widespread covid. There were people dying all over, and so there was this ethical and moral conundrum that even the developed countries were facing. Should we employ the resources that we have for our own good, or should we be benevolent and share our resources with other countries? And let me just break it to you. Many of the developed countries chose the first option. Okay, they stockpiled their own resources, and I wouldn't blame them. That's a perfectly right approach to take. Whenever you are faced with a crisis, you obviously focus on your own self-interest first, and then towards and then your efforts must be directed towards the other countries. All right, so but that if you compare it and contrast with the approach that Bharat had adopted during covid, we have donated massively to our neighbors in the Asian continent, be it Nepal, be it Sri Lanka, Maldives for that matter, even Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. All these countries have received some or the other aid. Even some of these countries have received economic aid. So, being self sufficient these days, being self reliant, I would say, is very much important. So, if you aspire to see yourself as a developed country, uh, midway through this century, that is by 2050, you need to grow self reliant in certain sectors, and space and technology, science and technology is one of them. you know Time and again we have seen this. Kargil war is one of the examples where United States withheld its GPS services in order to support Pakistan. All right, so you can never depend on these countries for such sensitive issues. So hence there is this announcement from a union minister. He's saying that by 2025, you will see a national from Bharat in the space, and even in deep sea explorations. We wish them all the best. Let's move ahead. Okay. Prime Minister Modi will be on an official visit to Russia on 8th and 9th of July. Okay, Ministry of External Affairs has said that Mr. Modi will be in Moscow at the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin to hold the 22nd India Russia annual summit. All right. I would say yes. You know, the official classification of Delhi and Moscow relationship is a special and privileged relationship. So in the arena of international politics, and now more so in the geopolitical context, Russia indeed plays an important role, strategic role when it comes to Bharat and Russia, because up to a certain extent, I would say. Um, so look at it in this way: there are two situations over here I'm going to put forward. So there are two, um, I would say, two paradigms. Okay, look at it this way: in the Asian subcontinent, the countries of Europe, countries of Western Europe, and United States, they need Bharat. Okay, they need Bharat for some strategical maneuvering or some elbow room to counter the Chinese influence in the Asia Pacific region, and even to counter its naval dominance. All right, so United States needs Bharat to counterbalance the Chinese influence. All right. Similarly, okay, keep this paradigm in mind. Now let me put forward another paradigm in front of you. So Bharat similarly needs Russia to counterbalance Chinese influence in the Asian subcontinent. All right, but there is also one caveat over here. All right, Russia itself needs China to circumvent those sanctions that the West, and more specifically United States, has put on it after the 2014 overtaking of Crimea. So these are some sensitive, sensitive dynamics playing out in the international politics, in the arena of international politics. So more than often, it is seen that Russia is more inclined towards taking the Chinese side. All right, but it does have we do have some privileged relationship with Russia. uh, we also import a lot of defense equipment from Russia, and yep, very recently we have imported some strategic missile defense system. uh, it is good to have these things. Okay, so yes, so there is some considerable give and take. There is some quid pro quo that Russia and Bharat share. There is something that we can offer them, and there is something that they can offer us, and that is at the base of the relationship that we have. And keep in mind that there is also some market available for socialist ideology in our country. Do not forget, okay, the majority of the revolutionaries that we had during our struggle to overthrow the British rule. All right, many of the revolutionaries, they were inspired by the socialistic ideals and socialistic philosophies that came out of Russian Revolution. So we cannot completely say that all those revolutionaries were communists, but they definitely had socialistic leanings. Some of the ideas, some of the ideologies that came out of the revolutions in Russia, they definitely appealed to these revolutionaries. And yep, so there is some historical and cultural proximity too that we have with Russia. So let's see, what do Modi and Putin, what do they discuss on 8th and 9th of July. So they are also they're also balancing. Thank you very much. I suddenly recalled this because Russia also has I wouldn't exactly say troubled, but it also has an not exactly adversarial as well. Israel isn't exactly an enemy of Russia. They do have some or the other collaboration on many levels, but so let's look at it this way: if United States is a close ally of Israel, Russia has been a very you know an ardent supporter of the Palestinian cause as well. So there is that you know that issue is one of the friction points between Bharat and Russia as well, because we support Israel, and they support the Palestinian cause. But this divergence, or this disagreement between Delhi and Moscow, has never played out at the international level. So it will be interesting to see, as and when the war deepens, as and where the conflict between Israel and Hamas deepens, how well do Russia and Bharat, manage their relations? So far, it has not, posed any threat. But you never know. Things change very quickly on international politics. Next up is the Vice President. Jagdeep Dhankar will be on a 2 day visit to Kerala, the communistic state of Kerala. Okay, it's a very, I would say, a very, you know, I don't have word for this, but an idiotic irony. I don't know if that's a word. It's a very idiotic irony to have, a democratically elected communist government. So even communism needs democracy to come to power. So Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar will be on a 2 day visit to Kerala from Saturday. On the first day of his visit, Mr. Dhankar will deliver the convocation address as chief guest at the 12th convocation of Institute of Space Science and Technology. He will also present institute's medal of excellence to meritorious students. Kerala has been projected as a state with higher literacy rate, state where people have been uh, you know have been very peaceful, but that is a facade. Okay, if you look closely at the politics of Kerala, you'll see is murder of opposition, political party candidates. And I would say this is the first time. Okay, now I'm not supporting any political party here on my channel, but this is the first time that Kerala is having somebody from the right wing of the political spectrum to in the Lok Sabha. So there has been what, like 7 decades since we are conducting elections, and this is the first time that, you know yeah. So it would be interesting to see. And many of the historical narratives of Kerala has been fabricated to portray Kerala as a state that is, that has usually been something different. But Kerala is and Kerala was the land of Parshuram. Many of the martial arts has come out from the philosophies of that land. And now, if now we see there is increasing, like there is, there is aggressive conversion going on over there in the state of Kerala. I'm sorry to have to say this, but it is what it is. There is aggressive conversion going on over there to, uh, move the people of Kerala more farther away from their own native culture. And somehow this is being justified, and the ideas of these are being mainstreamed. So, yep. So they do have a communistic government over there. And so if you are a learned person, if you are a, like, even, you know moderately learned person, and you have followed international political events all across the world, the left ideology of communism, they do have this, an alliance of convenience with Islam. So communists do have this, an alliance of convenience with Islam. And that is how they belittle, disparage, and in the end they, convert you. It is what it is. All right. So Jagdeep Dhankar, the vice president, he's on a tour to the state of Kerala. Let's hope one day Kerala would wake up from this slumber, wake up from this, the sleep of nonchalance, and reclaim its civilizational roots. Or we may never know. Next up, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, he is attending this summit, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Astana. They had this discussion about technology, how, 21st century is the century of technology. We have to make, these are his exact statements. Okay, let me just read out for you. Okay. He's actually a very well learned person, I would say. Obviously, I'm no one to comment about it, but if you read his statements, if you read the way he uses his language, you would see that he is a little bit pragmatic. He is a little bit rational in his approach. You know, and he has a good command over the language, I would say, because his statements, they definitely make sense. We have some political leaders in our country who do not have basic level of comprehension in the language of English. And so 21st century is the century of technology. Okay, these are his exact words, I'm not paraphrasing. We have to make technology creative and apply it to the welfare and progress of our societies. Bharat is among the countries to formulate a national strategy on artificial intelligence and the launch of an AI mission. EAM Dr. S. Shankar at the summit of SCO, Council of Head of States. So one very important thing that we should note over here, okay, and this might not seem a big issue to you because uh, but hear me out, okay. It was Council of Head of States. A head of state is the topmost minister in a country. Some countries, they follow presidential democracy, other countries, they follow prime ministerial democracy or parliamentary democracy. So, depending on the type of democracy they have, their head of state is either a president or either a prime minister. Now, all the member countries at the SCO, including Belarus, the latest entrant to the club of SCO, all of the top ministers were there. But from Bharat, it was, a cabinet minister. So I don't think this is. A lot of people would say that this is. You should not think too much into this. It's not that important. But yes, on the level of international politics, such minute things are very important. So it was somewhat a veiled reference that Bharat was wanting to communicate to the countries of SEO that you know we are also keeping our options open when it comes to taking a side. Either you are on the either you are in the Western camp led by the United States, or you are in the Asian camp, co jointly led together by Russia and China, because we need that strategic room for maneuvering if indeed China gets too dominating, and the equation that we have with Russia is not enough to pacify China. So, yep, it is what it is. It has that is how international level politics function. You cannot be empathetic at the international level. The competition is cutthroat. Each and every country is out there to protect its own self-interest at any cost. Okay, at any cost. You'll be surprised to know how countries stick to their self-interest at the expense of other countries if you really follow the proceedings of United Nations and other countries. So yeah. Next up is Niti Aayog. Okay. Niti Aayog is a research body and a think tank of the union government. So they are launching some schemes in the states of Kerala and Arunachal Pradesh. Sampurnata Abhiyan. Okay, they are launching Sampurnata Abhiyan, a 3-month campaign from today until September 30th, to undertake a sustained effort to achieve saturation of 6 key indicators in aspirational districts and aspirational blocks across the country. So it's somewhat of a social justice scheme, I would say, to bring up districts, to bring up aspirational districts across this Bharat Bhumi, I would say. Oh, here it is. So the National Space Research Organization, that we like to call it as ISRO, the chairman of it, S. Somnath, has said that the space agency will conduct a study of Apophis asteroid when it will be the closest to Earth in 2029. Okay, more power to you, ISRO, because these things are very important. Why? Because, like I said, in one of the first information that we covered was regarding ISRO. Okay, a country has to be self-sufficient in some of the sectors. One of the sectors is space technology. So they're going to conduct some study of an asteroid. All right. Although this study might not yield any, um, yield any results for the commoner. Okay, sometimes this argument is definitely made that why do we need space technology, why do we need these missions, space missions? It has no tangible benefit for the commoner, but we need them. Okay, but we need them because it is the next frontier for competition, I would say. The you know the territorial conflict is the territorial conflict is over, I would say, because with the advent of nuclear weapons, with the advent of weapons of mass destruction, be it nuclear weapons, be it jet planes, be it missiles, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. So the territorial competition is like over, I would say. But what is left, okay, what is available for countries, and what where the competition is still going on, is the frontier of space. All right, and you cannot rule out this possibility that space will be the new frontier for conflicts. We've already seen this. There are majority of satellites in the space are controlled by United States, and so they have this. United States does have this unique capability of monitoring any part of the world through the paraphernalia of satellites that it has. And adding to it, we now have Starlink that has been brought out by Tesla as well. Not that I'm implying that there is some nexus between the deep state of United States and NASA and SpaceX, but they have some satellites in the space, and these things can change overnight. Okay, the Pentagon or the White House will instruct SpaceX that we need the services of your satellite for national interest. And although Elon Musk might reject it, I wouldn't say that he will readily comply with the demands of the state of United States. But you never know. Okay, you never know. There is some inconsistency over there. We cannot predict. All right, so we do need a well developed space program, and more power to such bodies. Nation pays tribute to the great philosopher and social reformer. Yes, Swami Vivekanand. He is a great philosopher and a thinker. And one very important thing about him that I really appreciate is he took the Vedic and the Aryan philosophies and the nationalistic philosophies towards other foreign countries. Usually, we are a very non-proselytizing faith, because we aren't exactly a faith. We are a civilization, and an only surviving civilization from the earlier times. So the entire world has this wrong perception in their head that we can be classified into either monotheistic, polytheistic, or the people of the book and whatnot, and all the variety of definitions that they have. But we do not fit into either of their definitions. They do fit in some of our definitions of mlechas. There is this word called mlechas. Mlecha is a word that was used earlier on to call people who you know who are out of the realm of the civilizational principles that we have. Now keep in mind, these thoughts, these thinkings, these ideologies are in their infancy right now. They're definitely in the coming time in Bharat. We are definitely going to see some major revisitation of the identity that we have, and if no one takes it up, we definitely will take it up. These identity politics, this caste politics has to come to an end. Okay, it has been holding us back. So yeah, kudos to Swami Vivekanand. He was a major adherent to the philosophies of Vedas. He took these philosophies to the foreign lands. He made aware the foreigner or the people of the West about what the philosophies, what the actual Vedic philosophies are. He cleared up many major misunderstandings that the Westerners had in comparison, Westerners had in relation to the people of our country. And kudos to him. Okay, there are many incidences in his life that that should be revisited, that should be learned. So read as much as you can about Swami Vivekanand, and you'll find out. Next up is again S. J. Shankar. Since he was visiting SEO, he met with the his counterpart, Chinese counterpart, Wang Yi. Wang Yi. Okay. Yep. So, what did both of them discuss? Discussed early resolution of remaining issues in border areas. China is never going to, resolve these issues in the border areas because it believes in, it believes in this festering. Let the problem of LAC, this line of actual control, fester, because it knows once we solve those problems, it will lose any bargaining chip that it has. And yep, it is what it is. So the external affairs minister, he discussed early resolution of remaining issues in border areas, agreed to redouble efforts through diplomatic and military channels to that end, respecting the LAC and ensuring peace and tranquility in the border areas is essential. Okay. The three mutuals, mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest, will guide our bilateral ties. So let's start with mutual respect. Okay. China has no morals and ethics, I would say, because, you know, they are a communistic society. And I don't believe that communist people or people who people who openly profess the communistic ideals and openly advocate the communistic ideology. Okay, they can never have the same morals and ethics, uh, you know as same as the person who comes from a democratic country. So I wouldn't say there is any degree of mutual respect between China and Bharat. They definitely look down upon us. They definitely, you know, think that they are in some way superior to us. Although there are some civilizational links between China, but this is more, I would say, more. It's like a misrepresented, misinformed thing. Okay, whatever cultural links that we have it with Tibet. Okay, but then there is this argument to be made that there were some Buddhist monks that came over from China to study. Definitely, they came over here. There are also some, there are also some of the tombs that were recovered of Aryan priests from Bharat traveling to China. So there are some tombs in China as well. So yeah, I would say up to some degree we do have some civilizational links uh, with uh, with China, but more civilizational links we had with Tibet. Okay, and hence Dalai Lama is here these days. He's always been here. So there are more civilizational links we have with Tibet. So do not misconstrue it in the way that we have civilizational links with China. Okay, and the relationship between China and Bharat has always been of competition. Right. So right now, a little bit of competition is okay, I'm saying, but I would tend to disagree that there is any mutual respect between Bharat and China. Uh, and the problem is not from the side of Bharat. Mutual sensitivity, obviously not. They are not sensitive to our demands, they are not sensitive to our vulnerabilities. They definitely are supporting Pakistan. Okay, a major adversary that we have in South Asia. So there is definitely no, definitely no intersecting set when we talk about mutual sensitivity. Mutual interest, yes, there are some mutual interest, but more so on the economic side, because China is an economic powerhouse. And if China really wants to, you know, uh, but it can't. Sadly, it can't. If right now China is aiming to play the role that United States is playing in Europe. It wants to lead the Asian side. It wants to be the voice of Asia. It wants to set the narratives when it comes to Asia. But unfortunately, it is not able to, because not all Asian countries are believing in the legitimacy that China has. Okay, you cannot lead a team by dominating them. You cannot lead a team by thinking about your own self interest and promising others money. Okay, so when it comes to Asia, China, although China is aspiring to go on the top in the Asian continent, in the Asian international politics, but it definitely needs Bharat to legitimize its role as a nation leader. Okay, there cannot be a China at the top without the support of Bharat. It is what it is. Although it has deep pockets, I wouldn't deny China has deep pockets. It can buy the loyalty of countries, but unless and until there is peace between China and Bharat, you cannot see Asia or the Asian narrative dominating the Western narrative. Let's see, what do we have. Next up is, very recently we had covered this in one of the past live streams, that members of the parliament, whenever they take oath, they are resorting to some sloganeering towards the end of the oath. And very recently, one of the parliamentarians, you know, I really don't know which side of the political spectrum he is on. His name is Asaduddin Owaisi. I wouldn't really call him a moderate Muslim, because number one, there exactly isn't a thing called moderate Muslims. Number two, he makes claims about removing police for 15 minutes, so I wouldn't call him moderate. But come to think of it, are there any moderate Muslims in our country that represent, that politically represent them? Uh, uh, at the level of national politics, I don't think so. So so he had raised these slogans of Jai Palestine at the end of his at the end of his oath. So now the speaker of the Lok Sabha, he has made a new rule. Okay, it's not just specifically for Owaisi. Obviously, that would be incorrect. It is applicable to all the members of the Lok Sabha for now. Okay, I'm reading exactly from the press release of Lok Sabha, and the rule now says, let me just read it. Okay, what it is. A member shall make and subscribe oath or affirmation as the case may be, in accordance with the form set out for the purpose in the third schedule to the Constitution, and shall not use any word or expression or make any remark as a prefix or suffix to the form of oath or affirmation. All right, so this was done to, because there are many. Okay, we wouldn't single out Owaisi just because he raised a slogan and just because he subscribes to an ideology that is hostile towards our civilization. No, but this sloganeering, okay, it's parliament. All right, it's a national body, and if you're raising slogans over there, just to further your own political cause, I would say that's incorrect, and hence this is a good step. Okay. Enforcement Directorate today arrested Skatar Singh alias Laddi, a person deeply involved in the money laundering of proceeds of drug trafficking in Punjab's Taran Taran district. Taran. It's easier to say it in our native language, not in English, obviously. Under the provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, Enforcement Directorate. So let's see, money laundering, drug trafficking. Okay, Punjab has this nagging drug problem that they are not able to get rid of, because it has a land border with, guess who? Pakistan. Okay, it's a very big nexus. So all of you all know that best quality of opium that grows on this planet Earth comes from the land of Afghanistan. Okay, and from there onwards, it reaches Pakistan, and from Pakistan, it reaches the state of Punjab through its porous borders. All right, we don't exactly know, but this is what is going on in the media reports. But yes, Punjab has had this nagging problems of drug use, and there's also a movie, a pop culture cinema that was made on this named Udta Punjab. I wouldn't say that it's exactly the same way that it has been picturized in the movie, but you'll see many videos on the social media doing rounds about what exactly is going on in Punjab. I did not say much about it. Okay, Thailand. Thailand again, culturally and politically, and even I would say civilizationally, it is very much proximate to the Bharat, to the thought that is Bharat, to the idea that is Bharat, to the land that is Bharat, to the sentiment that is Bharat, to the emotion that is Bharat. You cannot, cannot box Bharat in cannot box down Bharat into one single entity. It's a multiple thing. It's an emotion. It's a sentiment. It's a land. It's a geography. It's a culture. It's a civilization. So it's a collective noun, and if I had to define that collective noun, it's a nation. All right. Bharat and Thailand defense cooperation rising. We share common threat perceptions. Yes. So the ambassador of Bharat in Thailand had a meeting. Okay. And there is some military exercise between the armed forces of Bharat and Thailand that is currently undergoing in Thailand. And very recently, the press reporters of ANI, okay, ANI is also doing a pretty good job, pretty decent job when it comes to reporting. So they are doing a pretty decent job. So they interviewed this ambassador of Bharat named Nagesh Singh. Okay, and these are the exact quotations from his interview. I'm not making it up. I am just simply quoting him and trying to make sense, trying to decode the message that because at the level of international politics, they'll not say it outright straight. There are veiled references, there are layered references inside their statement that you need to decode, because they'll never come out in the open and state things explicitly. That is how things function. Okay, so let's see what were his statements. Speaking to the ANI, the envoy of Bharat said, so the defense and security collaboration, I am adding security to defense because at the intelligence level, we have regular meetings. That is one area which was not there 10 years back, but suddenly it has taken off because Bharat and Thailand realize that we have common threat perceptions. Okay. So, what are these threats that Thailand is perceiving? We don't know. Okay, but just to juxtapose a piece of information over there while we are at it, South China Sea. Okay, Thailand has had this nagging problem of aggressive maneuvers that China is taking in the South China Sea. So the threat perception over here that uh, the envoy of Bharat is implying is China. Okay, so obviously we do have Chinese threat perceptions. Thailand does have Chinese threat perceptions as well. So most of our strategic objectives are in sync with each other's. All right. So now we have started having all sorts of dialogue at the staff level and all the three armed forces between Navy, Air Force. There are exercises, all of the three wings which take place. We also participate in a new multinational exercises, Singapore, Bharat, Thailand, in the Simtex in the Bay of Bengal. Yep, all of this is going on. So yeah, the threat perception that they are talking about, the common threat perception that we have is China. Okay, so there is the bilateral collaboration between these two countries has been increasing, and they have been collaborating very well at the international level. They are sharing intelligence, according to him, and let's see. Mm, some of the other statements are, yep. These are the statements that the Prime Minister of Bharat made at the SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that we spoke about earlier in this stream. Terrorism in any form or its manifestation cannot be justified or condoned. All right, all right. We know that the world is never going to recognize that, we are reeling under the after effects of terrorism. It's only after 9/11 happens that we realize that, oh, terrorism has been going on. But nobody talks about what happened at Taj on 26/11. So unless and until we take concrete steps, unless and until we take some concrete steps in ensuring that the this part of the world, the South Asian subcontinent, is immune from these disease of terrorism and the fundamental ideologies, you know, things are never going to move ahead. So if the prime minister, or if our political leadership is operating under the false pretense that the international bodies and these western countries will recognize that we as Bharat are facing problems or reeling under the after effects of terrorism, let me just burst your bubble. They're never going to do it because they have their own priorities. Look at what is happening in London. Acid attacks and knife attacks are pretty common. The mayor of London goes on record and in an interview and justifies it as being, as you have to accept it as a reality when you live in a developed world. So according to him, if you are living in a developed city such as London, terrorism is just something that you'll have to tolerate. And the name of the mayor of London that spoke, went on record and say this, was Sadiq Khan. Okay, next up is the National Weather Forecast Body has given a red alert. Very heavy rainfall in west and northeast part of Bharat for the next 4 to 5 days. Okay, so if you're living in the west and the northeast part of Bharat, I would recommend you stockpile on things that you need and prepare for a weekend indoors. That is what the weather forecast is saying. Stay indoors, watch some movies. I guess Mirzapur 2 is, you know, uh, they are going to put up Mirzapur 2 on Amazon Prime, if I'm not wrong. So that is going to come up. So stay indoors, stockpile your snacks, stockpile whatever that is that you need for a weekend, and enjoy a weekend indoors. So there is some serious, I wouldn't exactly call it serious, but some interesting development in the Hindu Rashtra, that is Nepal. The president Paudel assigns additional 8 ministries to Prime Minister Prachanda after some of its leaders resign. So some of the leaders of the ruling political party in Nepal have resigned, and when I say some, I mean 8. So right now, the Prime Minister of Nepal has been put in charge of 8 portfolios. It is he's heading 8 additional ministries. So this indeed is something to think about. Why exactly did 8 ministers resign, and all together, no less? So definitely there are some efforts being made to destabilize the government in Nepal. So only time will tell. Uh, you know, we'll know as the time progresses. Next up is voting is under in UK general election. The sentiment all across Europe is to bring back Labour to the power, because we have seen, how have the liberal policies of the conservatives towards immigration and towards some of its communities has not played out well with the natives. Okay, so currently the nationalistic sentiments of the British, has been ruling supreme. They want to see and they want some sort of acknowledgement from the government that indeed Britain belongs to the English. Indeed, Britain is a Christian nation. Everyone knows it, but they shy away to state it outright in the public. And yep, so they have had this nagging problem of immigrants not behaving properly, immigrants not, respecting their own, British values, British Christian values. And it is the left, it is the policies of the conservatives, the liberal policies of conservatives that people have grown a wry of. They think that it is the time to change now. They don't see a future for conservatives, but we never know. Okay, we can never say until the last vote has been counted. So we'll know in the upcoming week what is the sentiment of the Brits. All right, some updates from Assam. No respite from floods fury as several major rivers flow above the danger mark. So Assam has been reeling under the problems of floods, and there is no respite. Assam is still reeling under floods. Its rivers are, flowing above the danger mark. There are major relocation missions being undertaken by the army, by the NDRF, and that this happens every year. This is some geographical reason why Assam faces such issues. So all we can do is anticipate these problems, make preemptive efforts to save lives. All right, people, thank you for joining. As always, if you like such content, if you know, and the reason why, okay, the reason why some people ask me, okay, there are many media websites, there are many media houses out there who do what I do. But one very important thing that is missing from the discourse of their media houses is there isn't exactly a civilizational perspective. And that is what we intend to do. We intend to bring out a civilizational perspective. And yes, that is what there is. So if you like such content from us, if you want, you know, if you want us to make more such content, do subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share it with other people that you think would enjoy such content. And I will see you guys in the next live stream. And we are also going to bring up some written content that will be published on the social media platform of X from next week onwards. So, all of you all out there who prefer to read rather than listen, and we are going to bring out some fresh written content for you on the social media profile that we have on X. So watch out that space, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Thank you for joining.